Welcome back, Jazz fans, to Jazzed Fans TV. Interesting recap coming in hot.
Yep. So since the only sport that's happening right now is MMA, this is MMA
Bowling.
FTV / B. What is the? Is it the ATP?
Maybe.
No, that's not bowling. Whatever their league is, we're following that. Coming in hot. Daily updates.
Incorrect.
It's rough.
As everyone is aware, the coronavirus is in full effect as far as precautionary steps being taken to contain the outbreak. The Jazz only played one game, and the Jazz are kind of at the epicenter, for once, of the sporting world.
Yep. It's interesting, too, because it happened on the same day.
Yeah.
Both of my teams that I follow the most in the Jazz and Arsenal, both pretty much got their whole leagues canceled.
Jeez.
Arsenal, they had a scare, and then their coach ended up getting it if they found out a few days later, but they thought some of their players did. And then, obviously, the OKC game, and just literally at tip-off, be like, it's off!
It's off! We're done! We're out! We're
crazy.
out! Do you want to recap the Toronto game
I
first?
do.
Let's start.
I do.
So the Jazz went 0-1 this week.
This is...
Out of the 4 games they were supposed to play, they played 1.
I was real mad with this game. With they don't have Van Vliet, which he's not like their best player, but then they also have Norman Powell get injured early on.
Yeah.
You would expect them to still go out there and win against this team at home. But in all honesty, we talked about it with the fans after. This is championship DNA team still.
Yeah, 100%. And they are a great team. They're a formidable opponent. And even without Kawhi Leonard, they're playing their best basketball. So it wasn't going to be an easy task. They were the only East team we hadn't beaten. And they stay the only East team that we will not beat.
If I'm being honest, so I went back and watched the highlights, which the highlights don't tell the story of the whole game.
Sure.
You don't see the bad possessions and things like that. But I still think it's a return to defense. They only scored 101.
Yeah.
They only, I think, scored over 30 in one quarter. Yeah, the second quarter. So, I mean, there's still positives from it. Kyle Lowry, Siakam, and Ibaka had monster games.
Yeah.
Monster games.
Really, really good games. 27 and 27. Jeez.
And we were right in it up until I think like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, if I remember.
Yeah.
We actually took the lead for a little
We took the
bit.
lead for a second.
And then
Thanks to Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles was huge.
He went off. But, I mean, our starters had a terrible game. And this was, and we'll get into this later, what we think whether the coronavirus had it in, or I guess we can talk about it now.
Sure.
It's maybe Rudy's worst game that I've ever seen him play.
It was his worst game. It easily.
Some people were saying that he was not symptomatic. Do we want to just go ahead and blame it on it just to be safe?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a bad game.
Had a bad game.
But the starting lineup was not good.
No.
At all.
No.
There wasn't really a lot
Across
of
the board.
Yeah. The bench came out.
Bogdanovich can only have 5 points? That's not okay.
That's gotta change. But big ups. This was Tony Bradley's, I think, coming out party that he can be the guy. After we talked about this last week, he had 2 blocks. He looked active on both ends. His finishing looked better. He's definitely not like better than Rudy, but he has better hands than Rudy. I think we're seeing that as well. And I think he's becoming a worthy backup. If this break comes at the wrong time for him.
Sure, that's true. This break comes just bad. I just don't want this. I listen. I respect it. I think it's the right decision, but oh man, this would be a really good time to have sports. Not that there's a bad time or a good time but there's just, oh man, it hurts. No sports.
Well, and at the last stretch of basketball, March Madness, it's a bad time for sports. Masters. Soccer's coming to an end. It's just...
It couldn't have just been during baseball season. I know I'd lose golf too, but at what cost?
No, Paul, it specifically couldn't because that's not when flu season is.
I know. And honestly, listen, I'm very optimistic about it. I think we're going to shut things down for 3 to 4 weeks. I think My gut feeling is they're going to play like 5 to 6 games to warm up, get everyone back up to speed before the playoffs. Seeding is really honestly going to stay exactly where it is. And then we're going to have one of the most insane playoffs ever because everyone will be off of a month's rest. Like, it's going to be nuts.
I'm really excited for that aspect of it.
Yeah. They're going to finish the season. And I think March Madness is going to have, everything's just going to get pushed back. It's not it's a deal, but it's not a big deal.
Agreed.
There's too much money. There's too much money sitting on the table for them to be like, let's not do March Madness in May. It's not going to happen.
I think just from their perspective too, there's some good storylines that they can't let go.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis's possible only year at the Lakers, LeBron James coming back to his old self, and then the possibility of a Lakers-Celtics final.
Yeah.
Under no circumstance are they letting.
Oh no,
that
the
slide.
NBA will happen. I was talking more March Madness. Everything's gonna
they
get
canceled
played.
March Madness,
but it'll be back.
What do you mean?
Like it'll be in May or whatever. I think they're gonna do it.
Everything else, well, what I've heard, everything else is postponed, and March Madness is canceled.
That's
what I read. I could be wrong.
Interesting.
I could be wrong.
Okay, that's fair.
One other thing I wanted to say with the Raptors game, because everybody was super pissed after this loss. Really quick to come back to this. Going back and watching the highlights, they made super difficult shots though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hit some nuts shots. I actually, going back and watching this, I'm okay with the loss. Let's just regroup and come back, and we'll beat the rest of the league. We'll beat coronavirus. I made this joke on Twitter that
get well Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert.
That Rudy Gobert is not only the defensive player of the year in basketball, but also for the whole league. He's defending everybody.
That's been going on.
It was the first one. Look at my timestamp. I'm a genius. It wasn't that funny.
It was
mediocre at best.
Mediocre at best.
But I don't know. Like, so you think everything continues, including March Madness?
Here's the thing. I don't necessarily think that the conference tournaments will be played, but I think they'll do a 68-team bracket. Yeah, I still think that that's going to happen.
Because my understanding again is cancellation. Because I remember following it that the Ivy Leagues were like, hey, listen, we can't do the conference championships. So what we're doing is Yale's going to send their men, I think, and Princeton's going to send their ladies.
Interesting.
And then, so everybody was getting ready for that. And then my understanding was canceled.
That, you may be right.
Let's just Google it. You keep talking, I'm going to look it up.
Even if it says canceled, if everything comes back in a month, they might be like, hey, we want to do this now. I don't know. I think if you get rid of the conference tournaments, March Madness is only 3 weeks. I think you could still squeeze it in May. I could be wrong. Masters is postponed.
This is
April.
This is USA Today. On Thursday, it happened. The NCAA president Mark Emmert announced that the men's and women's NCAA tournaments, in addition to all winter and spring championships, would be canceled due to the coronavirus pandemic. That means no brackets, no March Madness, no Cinderellas, and no national championship game.
That's crazy. They'll walk it back. They'll walk it back.
I think that's the one they don't.
Really? You might be right.
Because I just think it's too big. Like, and there's too many moving parts. There's hundreds of schools that could be affected for next year.
That's true.
Also, if you're starting to look at the draft and the combines and all of that, like, that gets pushed back for the NBA.
That's true.
Now, to your point, money talks, and it's a money mover. There's betting. There's so much that factors into it. You could be right.
I will say there is no NBA combine, and
there isn't?
No, that's just
they just have the workouts.
They just have workouts. But if you do it in May, the 3 weeks in May, the draft isn't till the last week of June. It would still work, and I bet you they push the draft back because I think the finals will probably be at the end of June. I bet you the draft will be in July. Everything's getting pushed back. Since everything in the NBA is getting pushed back, it almost, if they look at it like, okay, could we pull out a 68 team bracket still without the conference championships? They may still cancel it, but my nose.
Coming back to professional sports a little bit, I was going to ask you this actually just casually walking around the house and forgot.
Son of a bitch.
Always has to be somebody. I'm happy it wasn't me. Do you think...
Thanks a lot.
Granted, obviously, you said we think the tournaments are happening. We think the playoffs are happening for the NBA. Do you think they do away with any regular season games.
Of the NBA? Yeah. No, that's what I said at the beginning. I think they're going to just do like 5 to 6 games just to warm up, get people up to speed, and then go right into the playoffs.
Well, there's no sense in...
They're not going to go to the playoffs cold. They won't.
Well, there's no sense... Because we talked about this last week. 1 through 8 is pretty much secure. The only thing you're really jockeying for now is position. It's a really hard ask for any of those teams to catch. So at this point, let's just say that's actually what I think they should do. They should take the 8 teams, and the games that they play should be against the bottom teams. That way you're not giving anything away. You're getting...
That's a possible solution.
Do it, NBA.
5 to 6 games. There'll be some ramp-up games. They're not going to go into the playoffs cold. But 5 to 6, let's get back in the rhythm of things, and then it'll happen. I'm already worried about the NFL.
Yeah, Roger What's-His-Bucket already came out and be like, no, it's happening.
It is?
Yeah, they already said it. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we're going forward. We got...
I'm nervous.
So
that, I mean, we wish everyone well.
When's that draft?
Which one? The NFL?
NFL.
Oh, end of April. Oh, the draft will still happen.
Sure. I'm just wondering. They've already said that too, that it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Because you can do all that over the phone.
But they say
anyways.
everything comes back in the fall, flu season again. Like, I still think it'll be fine. I think it's going to be fine. Everyone be safe. Wash your hands a little bit more. The fact that Rudy Gobert and Mitchell have both just put out videos after being symptomatic, they look like they're just a little under the weather. This is not the end of the world. However,
Rudy didn't even look under the weather, other than what he said. He felt a little under the weather. He actually looked. To me, he looked fine.
I honestly think most people have gotten the coronavirus and not even known it. That is why I don't like and refute these high mortality rates. It's only the documented cases. There's probably hundreds of thousands of people that have gotten it, that didn't report it, that were fine. So I feel like it's a less rate than what we're being told. It's my opinion. I could be wrong. But it is scary. Anyone with a lesser immune, we want the old people to be okay. I got a yeah.
Well, I mean, but that's the problem is you're looking at hospitalized. Sure. So there's, like, if you look at Italy, 7% at this point of hospitalized there's mortality rate. So you do have to be careful. We won't get too much into that.
Yeah, it is worthy of concern.
One thing I did want to talk about too is just Woj dragging Rudy and then everybody else just piling on. Did you have any issues with that, or do you like, whatever?
The piling on's bad. Rudy was insensitive. He had no idea. He was joking around, and as a comedian, I can understand that. It was in bad taste looking back, but I think it should blow over, and anyone who's threatening him is dumb. It's the same person that's stockpiling toilet paper in their bomb shelter.
Do you have any concerns about the issues in the locker room at this point?
I'm a little worried. I don't know if hey, real sorry about that works, but I don't think it's irreparable. I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, and that's my issue is I think, because what I've heard is Donovan is a little bit of not a hypochondriac, or even really a germaphobe, but he is cautious of it. Mm-hmm. I think it comes from a competitive place. Sure. I can't speak to that. Don't know him. Don't even know if that's true. So take that for what it is. But I do know people like on the live stream on Twitch 2 nights ago were saying that they were joking about it. So I don't think it's... I think it'll be okay. It's a big, big sorry from Rudy. Mm-hmm. He does seem legitimately embarrassed, I think is the most important. Yes, I think he's very embarrassed. But this is a guy that's fought hard to get his place in the league. I think he'll do what's right. And the $500,000 that he's donating...
That's nice. It's very good.
I know that like the whole organization of the Warriors, the players, and the staff or coaches, I think, are donating $1 million. So he's doing half of that, which is not a competition, but
he's giving a lot. For sure.
It's very, very serious.
Yeah, 100%.
And other than that, I think they're the only two that have gotten it in the league so far, right?
Did Mudiay end up having it or not? No.
You were right about that. He did not.
So it's just Donovan. That's crazy that no one from the Raptors got it. Mm-hmm. That's crazy to me. And that no one else from the Jazz staff, 58, tested. Like that, I feel like that's an encouraging sign that things are going to be okay. Like, be careful, be cautious, but let's not lose our heads. Everything's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, we were actually talking about this at work, back to your point of their videos that they put out. We were like, it would be nice, and they might be a little bit, like they have to get vetted with this kind of stuff, but it would be nice if they gave daily updates on social media of how they're feeling, and we did get a little bit of that, because it at least belays concerns. Not you want to be careful too, because you don't want it to be like this is not a big deal, but it's like we don't need to be buying tons of toilet paper. That's the stupidest thing ever. But it's like we can be cautious without going nuts.
Yeah.
I'm a little sick. I got a sore throat. It's a little hard breathing. My head hurts. Fluids and rest. We're good. We're golden.
Gatorade.
And take care of your older population. Don't go see your grandparents.
Yeah.
My grandma's like, oh, come get food here. And I'm like, no. Staying away. I don't know. I could have it. I don't, but I could.
True.
Staying away from grandma, yaya.
Yeah.
A lot of them. We love you. That's why we have phone calls and FaceTime. Learn how to do it.
Sure. Anything else?
I got nothing.
All right. We will be back when the Jazz are back. We're taking a small hiatus.
I'll probably be back next week. I'll do a little bit of
we might do some videos, but we miss you. We love you.
Probably talk a little bit about what their plan, like if they start coming out with plans on what to do.
Yeah,
we'll follow that a little bit, but there'll be short updates.
But there will be no interviews because there is no games.
We actually had a plan that if they played in fanless stadiums, we wanted to just go outside of our house and interview each other, just do 2 videos. I thought it would be great.
And we didn't even get that.
But Rudy ruined it.
Honestly, really saved it.
Ruined our joke.
It was a
mediocre joke.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. We'll see you.
See you guys.